let's start talking about becoming an entrepreneur and how important it is to become an entrepreneur. So the first thing we need to understand is, what is an entrepreneur? Is an entrepreneur somebody that works for himself, that is self-employed? Is an entrepreneur somebody who owns a business? Not necessarily. My closest definition I could get to what is an entrepreneur is, it is somebody who creates business assets that generate income through leverage. So there's a couple of things there that's important in that definition. The first one is they create business assets. They don't start a business, they create a business asset. So when is something a business asset? It's only a business asset when you are not the business anymore. Therefore, if you're a plumber that starts a plumbing business, that business is not an asset because you are the business. You cannot differentiate between you, the plumber, and the plumbing business. So an entrepreneur is somebody that creates a business asset where there's a definite differentiation between the owner of the business and what the business does and the actual business. So you need to differentiate that for it to become a business asset. You need to find a way to have your business be able to run without your input. Otherwise, it's not an asset that you can sell. Because if you had to sell the asset, but the business is completely dependent on you doing certain things in the business, who's going to buy the business with the owner involved? Or when the owner disappears, the business can't survive on its own. So that's the first thing. An entrepreneur creates a business asset. So if you are currently self-employed or you have a business and you think you're an entrepreneur, look at your business and say, how long will my business survive without me? If I have to go away and tell the people to run the business without me, how long will this business survive? And if it's not very long, if you think your business will only survive a week or a day or 2 days, then you're not an entrepreneur yet. The second one is it generates income through leverage. And leverage is the key here. You need to build a business that can generate income through leverage. What is leverage? It's earning income from the efforts of other people. So that is an entrepreneur. Again, it ties into the business asset. A company cannot be a business asset if there's no leverage. If you have no leverage, you cannot grow, you cannot expand, you are always limited. A self-employed person, let's say a GP, a doctor, who's a self-employed individual, a professional, he earns a lot of money, but there's a ceiling. There's only so many people he can see in a day, and there's only so much he can charge for every person he sees. So it doesn't matter what he does, there's always a level. The only way he increases or breaks that barrier is by creating leverage, is by creating a practice with, say, other GPs that work with him in the practice, and he earns a little bit of money on each of them. Now, I can't remember, I think it was Dale Carnegie who said, I'd rather earn 1% of the efforts of 100 people than earn 100% of my own efforts. And that is the key. You have to find a way to earn income from the efforts of other people. And it always sounds that when I start talking to people about this, they tend to say, yeah, but isn't that unfair? Now I'm earning money from other people's work. I have to work for my own money, or I am destined to keep working hard for the money I earn. Guys, it is a win-win situation. Because if you create a system whereby other people can generate income for themselves and you earn income on the efforts, then they win because they have created income for themselves, and you win. So the more people you can get on which you can earn an income, the better. So it is in their best interest as well. And remember, not everybody can become successful entrepreneurs. So it is us that can become successful entrepreneurs. It's our responsibility to create business assets so that other people can work, generate income, and we then earn from that leverage. Now, there's two types of income that we talk about. The first one is PSI. So PSI stands for primary source of income. So that is the income that you get from your job or your primary business. Now, the myth that we've been taught since we were very small is as long as you just live within your means and save as much of your primary source of income as you can, you will be able to retire comfortably when you get to 65. Unfortunately, as I've discussed numerous times before, that plan has a 96% failure rate. 96% of people who retire cannot maintain their standard of living within 5 years after retirement. So that is a myth. You cannot save yourself into retirement alone. You cannot save enough money from your primary source of income to retire. So the solution is to create MSI. MSI stands for multiple sources of income. You also don't want one source of income extra on top of the income that you get from your primary source. You want multiple sources of income, and you can only create that if you make use of leverage, if you make use of business assets. So it is very important that you create a business asset and that you start earning multiple sources of income. Once you start earning multiple sources of income, that income of yours needs to be defined. So every source of income that comes into your portfolio on a monthly basis needs to be defined as one of two types of income. The first one is what we call lifestyle income. So what is lifestyle income? Lifestyle income is the income that you use to fund your lifestyle. It pays for the house, the car, the clothes, the school fees, the medical aid, the risk cover that you have. All of those kind of things are paid by your lifestyle income. That also goes into your lifestyle account. So that is the account where your salary usually gets paid into. Now, your lifestyle income is usually your primary source of income, your salary or your primary income that you get from your business. That is used for lifestyle. Once you start creating multiple sources of income through your entrepreneurial ventures, you want to define that income as freedom income. So once you consciously define income as freedom income, that income does not go into your lifestyle account. You do not use that income to fund your lifestyle. You use that income to build assets, to create freedom. That's why we call it freedom income. Now, what we teach in our coaching system is we teach people to open what we call their free bucks account. Their free bucks account is a flexible investment account that has no term, where they park the money to build a capital asset. And once that capital asset is big enough, they then use that money to move to step 4 of the process, which is invest in income generating assets, which I will address next week. So the important thing you need to understand here is you need to define every income that comes in as either being a lifestyle income or a freedom income. Now, what is freedom income? What could freedom income be? So there's 3 kinds of things that could be freedom income. The first one is some of your primary source of income that you have saved or that you have released because you've paid off your debt or you've taken better control of your cash flow and your expenses. So you've reduced your expenses and now you have 3,000 Rand a month extra at the end of the month. That income can be defined as freedom income, and that will then move into your free bucks account eventually. The second part that can be freedom income is income from any business assets. So this is what we're talking about today, becoming an entrepreneur. The business asset that generates the income, that income gets defined as freedom income. And the third one is income from any fixed assets. So income generating assets like a property or some asset that you're renting out, you're generating income from it. So those are the 3 types of income that can be defined as freedom income. So firstly, it can be some of your primary source of income or your lifestyle income that was released because you've paid off debt or reduced your expenses. It can be from a business asset, or thirdly, it can be from a fixed asset. So that is lifestyle versus freedom. So guys, again, before we take a break, and I've got a message here from Frikkie, before we do that, it's very important that you consciously look at money coming into your account and consciously define it as either lifestyle or freedom. I start working with a lot of clients and students where they are doing a lot of the things right. They already bought 2 or 3 properties. They're getting rental income in. But this one thing they're not doing correctly, they're not differentiating between lifestyle and freedom income. So all the rental income and everything just goes into one account, and they never build momentum. The money just goes into the account and they spend all the money. So it is important to differentiate, because that will create momentum in your system so that you can build what we call the generational wealth spiral.